So what is going on, guys? I'm Black Ops Amazing. Welcome back to another video on the channel where we've just had some massive news to do with massive layoffs within every Call of Duty studio that we have. Treyarch, Sledgehammer, Infinity Ward. I should mention it's other Activision studios as well, not just the main COD ones, High Moon Studios, Beanox. Pretty much most of these studios under Activision have been affected, and this is of course huge news because it was only not too long ago where everybody was excited for the future of Call of Duty. We all thought maybe we'd get more hires. COD developers were already struggling to create Call of Duty games, whether that be due to time restraints, lack of staff, funding, but when Xbox or Microsoft took that acquisition and paid $70 billion to acquire Activision, everybody was excited thinking, okay, the future of Call of Duty is going to be very different. It's going to change for the better. I don't think at that time that anybody was thinking over 1,900 employees were going to be laid off. And as far as I can see, there is no positive to this. There is no positive outcome that comes out of firing 1,900 employees, especially when you know not only how much Activision bring in profit every single year, $3 billion in profit, $3 billion, and then you also take into account how much Microsoft make. Just yesterday, they became a $3 trillion company, overtaking Apple. They're both extremely profitable beyond belief. No matter what you think of Call of Duty, whether you think it's dying or it's becoming worse and worse every year, that doesn't change the fact that it's profitable every year by a huge amount, and that's only going up. You might think Call of Duty has been going down for the past few years, and maybe reviews-wise, that's true, but profit-wise, it's the total opposite. They're still raking in billions, and we'll get into it in just a second. So to try and justify, in my mind, laying off 1,900 people when you're billions in profit every year, because this is without a doubt going to affect Call of Duty going into the future, including this year's game, which is from Treyarch, towards the end of the year. But I first saw this news that was tweeted out by Charlie Intel. They said Sledgehammer Games have lost 30% of their staff, High Moon Studios have lost over 10% of their staff, Toys for Bob have lost over 30% of their staff, and along with that, Treyarch, Infinity Ward, Raven, Solid State Studios, Beanox, and Demonware have also had many layoffs as well. Basically, every Call of Duty team has seen a reduction in staff. This is the memo, which is from Phil Spencer, who of course is the head of Xbox, to do with all of this. He said it's been a little over 3 months since Activision, Blizzard, and King Teams joined Microsoft. As we move forward to 2024, the leadership of Microsoft Gaming and Activision Blizzard is committed to aligning on a strategy and execution plan with a sustainable cost structure that will support the whole of our growing business. Together, we've set priorities, identified areas of overlap, and ensured that we all align on the best opportunities for growth. As part of this process, we have made the painful decision to reduce the size of our gaming workforce by approximately 1,900 roles out of the 22,000 people on our team. The gaming ship leader team and I are committed to navigating this process as thoughtfully as possible. The people who are directly impacted by these reductions have all played an important part in the success of Activision Blizzard, ZeniMax, and the Xbox teams, and they should be proud of everything they've accomplished. We are grateful for all of the creativity, passion, and dedication that they brought to our games, our players, and our colleagues. They then go on to say that they'll provide their support past this, and looking ahead, they'll continue to invest in areas that will grow the business and support our strategy of bringing more games to more players around the world. Although this is a difficult moment for our team, I am as confident as ever in your ability to create and nurture the games, stories, and worlds that bring players together. So that is the head of Xbox's official notice. He doesn't really go into specific detail on why he's chosen who he has to let go and which departments. He's basically saying that these 1,900 roles aren't 100% necessary. The only thing I will say to this, just from what I can see, is going through Twitter or X, you can already see quite a few employees tweeting out that they are some of the people that have been let go. And just looking at some of their positions, one thing I do notice is a lot of them are either QA testers or follow similar lines to that, such as them being marketing strategists or people who hire for certain positions. I'm willing to bet some or quite a lot of people out of those 1,900 people probably are game developers, but just right now, early on, from what I can see, out of that 1,900 people, a lot of them do follow that line, but definitely not all of them. Just taking a couple, this person tweeted, I was impacted by the layoffs at Sledgehammer Games today, so if you want a passionate writer and super supportive teammate, hit me up. Ryan said, for the first time in my life, I was laid off today. If you know me, you know how much I love my job at Call of Duty. The last 2 years have been an absolute blast, and everyone at Treyarch and High Moon Studios, thank you. And Tyler Diaz, who it says in his bio is a gaming systems designer, he said, unfortunately, today is my last day at Treyarch. I can't begin to express how grateful I am for the last 2 years. working on this incredible game. While I might not be involved anymore, I can absolutely promise you that the future of Call of Duty is bright. When he says I'm grateful for the last 2 years working on this incredible game, I'm assuming he's talking about the one that's about to come out this year. So he's spent 2 years working on it and he's not going to get to finish it, which is unfortunate. And I kind of agree with what Jason Schreier said here, where it feels quite cruel because a lot of these people that were laid off today were actually saying just a few months ago how excited they were to now work under Xbox. We all know what Activision are like, we all know their past, how some of their employees have been, I guess you could say, mistreated, but not having a good time working under Activision. And then when the news came out that Xbox were buying them, a lot of these employees, whether it be from Treyarch, Infinity Ward, Sledgehammer, etc., were super excited. And now it's only a few months later where they're being let go by those very same people that they were excited to work under. And so what does this mean for the future of Call of Duty? Of course, laying off 1,900 people is never going to be a good thing. I can't see a good outcome here. Over the past few years, Call of Duty has been struggling already. From what I can see looking inwards, and I don't know, this is just me speculating, but it seems like they did need more employees, especially if they weren't going to get the time they should be. If you're going to be given 2 years to work on a Call of Duty game, then the least you need is more staff to help, not less. So in what way could this possibly help or improve Call of Duty in the future? I don't know, even though just what I'm seeing right now, a lot of these roles aren't developers. They're all integral, but clearly Phil Spencer doesn't think so. And if he brought Activision for 70 billion, there has to be more reasoning behind this. It's not a decision that he's going to take lightly. Call of Duty is extremely profitable. It must be more of a strategic thing. Clearly he thinks there's too many people working under Activision that he doesn't think are necessary, and maybe going into the future things will be restructured and then more people will be rehired in positions that he thinks are necessary to improving Call of Duty for the better. I don't know, but this can't be a good thing for Call of Duty in the short term anyway. For this year's COD, which has been developed by Treyarch, I already just read you that tweet from Tyler Diaz, who said he was working on this game for this year. He's been working on it for the past 2 years and now he's been let off. This year's COD has had 3 years of development. Right now, when it releases, it would have had 4 years. So actually the longest time to develop a Call of Duty ever. For that reason, maybe this year's COD won't be affected as much, but going into next year with Sledgehammer and then the year after with Infinity Ward, yeah, I mean, this is big. We have also just had the news that Sledgehammer are going back remote as it's finding a new office, so that's another massive change that's probably going to affect things. Sledgehammer are working on next year's Call of Duty in 2025, which should be a sequel to Black Ops 2 from what we've heard, but now that they're going back remote until they find an office, more than likely that's going to affect it, and that game doesn't have much development time as it is, and now along with that, they also have less staff to work on it. And just the day before that, we also had news that Activision Blizzard's survival game had been cancelled and one of the main developers had been let go, and that was one of the main reasons why it was cancelled. So there's so much going on right now with Activision, and none of it, from what I can see, is good news. I'll be 100% honest, I think Modern Warfare 3, this year's Call of Duty, is average at best. I don't think it's a great game. I definitely think it's better than last year's, but compared to what Call of Duty was, I think it's mid. The same could be said for the game before that and the game before that. COD definitely isn't anything great anymore. And when I heard Xbox was buying it, I was super excited for the future. And so far, we're still pretty early on, but we haven't seen any reasons to be excited. I thought Xbox was going to pump a load of money into this franchise, give the developers a bigger budget, more staff to work with, but instead, so far we've seen no signs of that. I'd understand if the franchise was failing profits-wise, but it's definitely not, and Activision wouldn't have spent 70 billion on it otherwise. So yeah, right now the future of Call of Duty still looks exactly the same as it does now. I would say this year's game I am excited about, mainly because of them having 4 years of development time and it being Treyarch, but going past that, well, it looks the same as it has done for a long time now. There we go. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. As always, hopefully you've enjoyed the video today. If you have, drop a like rating. Make sure you are subscribed to stay up to date with the latest content on the channel. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Until then, goodbye.